Your brain is lying to you about saving money. Right now, invisible algorithms and ancient survival instincts are conspiring to drain your accounts. You pat yourself on the back for skipping coffee runs, unaware that this false victory masks the real financial predators. Let me show you the hidden battlefield. Imagine this. You meticulously track every single dollar spent on lattes while ignoring the silent killers draining thousands yearly. They hunt bigger game. Subscription fees bleeding out in monthly payments, insurance policies designed to exploit loyalty, energy bills inflated by outdated appliances. Your focus on visible costs makes you miss the wolves at the door. Here's the brutal truth. Sacrifice creates weakness. When you deny yourself small joys to save pocket change, your willpower erodes like cliffside sediment. That deprivation builds psychological pressure until you snap, blowing 3 months of austerity on a guilt-driven shopping spree. Real strategy replaces deprivation with surgical precision. Now picture your cash rotting in a standard savings account. While you cling to the illusion of liquidity, inflation eats 7% yearly like flesh-eating bacteria. Banks manipulate this fear, trapping you in accounts paying 0.01% interest. Meanwhile, ultra-wealthy institutions borrow your parked money to earn double-digit returns. You're the ant storing crumbs while others feast on your labor. The most dangerous trap isn't spending, it's invisible mathematics. $100 invested at age 20 becomes $7,000 by retirement through compound growth. But leave it in cash, it decays to the buying power of $30. Every month you delay locks in permanent losses your future self will scream about. You're about to discover how sales engineers weaponize your own neurons against you. Those limited time offers and red discount tags trigger primal scarcity circuits older than civilization. Your logical mind gets overridden by ancestral panic. Miss this berry bush, starve in winter. Except now it's 50% off appliances you'll never use. Stay sharp. We're just peeling the first layer of this financial horror story. What comes next will expose how your deepest fears about money are engineered by institutions counting on your ignorance. Your weekly grocery run becomes a psychological minefield. Those bright red sale tags aren't accidents. They're neurological warfare. Retailers spend millions studying how your dopamine receptors fire when you see 60% off. But the real crime happens in your cart. You grab 3 of something you don't need because the sign says limited stock. Unaware this manufactured scarcity bypasses rational thought. Let's dissect the rebound effect. After weeks of rice and beans discipline, your brain screams for relief. This isn't weakness, it's biology. Deprivation triggers cortisol spikes that impair judgment. That's when you blow $200 on a jacket you'll wear once, erasing 3 months of $15 lunch savings. The wealthy avoid this trap through structured indulgence, planned, budgeted rewards that prevent cortisol explosions. Now consider subscription services, the silent budget killers. That $12 streaming fee seems trivial until you realize 40% of users forget about at least one recurring charge. Over 5 years, those drips become an $18,000 hemorrhage. Modern banking apps have features to detect these leaks, yet 93% of users never enable them. Here's where perception becomes prison. You feel virtuous buying generic brands, not realizing name brands use optical tricks. Their larger packaging creates false bulk perceptions, while store brands often have superior unit pricing. The ultimate trap hides in plain sight: sales tax. You mentally subtract it from prices, creating phantom savings. Paying $80 for a $100 item feels like victory, ignoring that 80 post-tax dollars could void essentials. This cognitive accounting error costs the average household $1,200 annually. But the darkest secret, your savings account might be accelerating poverty. Ultra-low-risk options can't outpace inflation long-term, yet 87% of Americans keep emergency funds in accounts losing 4% yearly. Financial advisors whisper about tiered cash reserves, 3 months in liquid accounts, the rest in instruments that at least match inflation. One final landmine: free shipping thresholds. You add $25 of unnecessary items to save $7 in fees. Corporations know exactly how to exploit your wiring. Spend more to save more becomes a self-defeating mantra. The escape. Bookmark price comparison tools and wait 24 hours before completing any cart above $50. What you're about to learn next will rewire how you perceive time's relationship with money, and why every delay costs you exponentially more than you imagine. Your brain's reward system is being hijacked by your own savings plan. That strict budget you follow, it's chemically identical to crash dieting. After 30 days of white-knuckle restraint, neural pathways scream for relief. This isn't discipline, It's neurological self-sabotage. Deprivation releases stress hormones that narrow focus to immediate gratification. That's why $90 impulse purchases obliterate weeks of $5 savings. Consider phantom budgets, the hidden categories draining your reserves. You meticulously track groceries and utilities but ignore the black hole labeled miscellaneous. $30 for parking tickets here, $45 for expired subscriptions there. Over a year, these unaccounted leaks drain more than planned vacation budgets. The wealthy automate tracking through apps that categorize every transaction instantly. Now dissect the optimism tax. You buy bulk toilet paper to save 20%, not realizing storage costs and potential moves negate gains. Those 10 rolls under your sink, they're occupying $1,000 per square foot of urban apartment space. True savers calculate physical and mental storage costs. Your prefrontal cortex has limited bandwidth for inventory management. When you make spending physically harder, deleting saved credit cards, requiring two-factor authentication for purchases, impulse buys drop 70%. But most sabotage themselves by storing payment info everywhere. The rich leverage this intentionally, keeping liquid assets in accounts with 48-hour transfer delays. The most pernicious trap. Moral licensing. You skip 3 dinners out, then justify a $300 gadget as a reward. Your brain treats discipline as currency to be spent. Financial planners counter this by separating behavioral wins from monetary decisions. Track them in different apps to avoid dangerous mental accounting. Witness the subscription rebound effect. After canceling 5 streaming services, you feel deprived and eventually resubscribe to all plus 2 new ones. Behavioral economists recommend keeping one premium service and rotating others quarterly. This satisfies novelty cravings while cutting annual costs by 60%. But the ultimate deception lives in your calendar. Sales strategically align with paydays and tax refunds. Retailers track when your accounts swell and bombard you with limited offers. The escape? Schedule automatic transfers to savings accounts 24 hours before expected deposits. Outsmart the algorithms hunting your cash injections. You're now realizing money isn't about math. It's a psychological war zone. What comes next will reveal how institutions exploit your deepest evolutionary fears to empty your accounts through perfectly legal predation. Your concept of time is being weaponized against your wallet. Those 30-day money-back guarantees aren't generosity. They're neurological traps. Retailers know 93% of buyers forget to return unwanted items within windows. That winter coat bought on summer clearance still hangs tags intact because discount urgency overrides actual need. Let's expose the anniversary effect. Your brain marks financial milestones arbitrarily. New Year, birthdays, pay raises. Marketers flood these dates with targeted offers, exploiting your reflexive desire for fresh starts. That gym membership signed in January costs 19% more than July rates, capitalizing on resolution psychology. The rich buy off-cycle. Here's how comparison shopping backfires. You research for weeks to save 15% on a laptop, oblivious to the 100 hours invested. Minimum wage workers literally can't afford to hunt bargains this way. True efficiency means setting strict time limits. 20 minutes max for purchases under $300. The loyalty points Sam preys on primate psychology. Collecting stamps for free coffee triggers the same dopamine loops that kept our ancestors gathering berries. But 90% of reward program members never redeem points before expiration. Corporations bank $600 million yearly on forgotten credits. Turn this around. Set calendar alerts 3 days before point expiration dates. Witness the decoy effect in action. A $50 shirt seems expensive until placed next to a $90 option. Retailers manipulate your anchor points, making reckless spending feel prudent. Wealthy negotiators reset anchors daily. They compare prices across regions and seasons before ever touching their wallets. 0% interest for 12 months. Sounds safe. But human nature waits until month 11 to act. 34% of users then pay interest on full original amounts. Solution: divide the total by 11. And make payments starting month 1. Emergency funds have a hidden flaw. Keeping 6 months' expenses in cash feels responsible, but inflation erodes 4%. Split reserves. 3 months in instant access, 3 in treasury bonds that track inflation. This hybrid approach preserves buying power while meeting sudden needs. Grocery stores deploy military-grade tactics. End caps display managers' specials to exploit decision fatigue. After 40 minutes of shopping, your willpower crumbles. Solution: eat before shopping and practice the perimeter rule. Fresh foods outline stores, processed traps lurk within aisles. You're now armed to dismantle these engineered traps, but the final revelation will shock you. An invisible force stealing more than subscriptions and impulse buys combined. What comes next isn't just about money. It's about reclaiming your most finite resource from institutional vamp. The greatest wealth killer isn't hidden in your spending. It's camouflaged as productivity. That $30 monthly budgeting app. Every notification hijacks your focus, fracturing attention into unpaid labor for financial institutions. You become both customer and employee, tracking data they monetize. Let's dissect time inflation. Hours spent couponing to save $10, effectively earn below minimum wage. The rich outsource this. They negotiate one-time fee structures with personal shoppers. You can mimic this by batching errands into quarterly power hours, using hyper-focused sessions to make 60 days of decisions. Social media amplifies this theft. Following frugality influencers creates false comparisons. Their $10 meal prep videos ignore camera crews and editing costs. Real savings happen offline. Deleting food delivery apps reduces orders by 70%, but you've been conditioned to seek digital validation for every financial choice. The final trap lives in your mirror. You avoid investing not from ignorance but from identity protection. Calling yourself bad with money becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Wealth builders reframe mistakes as data points. Each dollar lost is tuition for financial education, but only if analyzed without shame. Here's how to counterattack. Replace budgets with behavior tracks. Monitor what you do weekly, not spend. Notice patterns like stress-induced online window shopping. Install browser extensions that convert shopping time to educational articles. Each abandoned cart strengthens neural pathways. Ultraviolet wealth isn't about hoarding. It's strategic friction. Make spending decisions require 3 separate actions across different devices. Want that new gadget? Open laptop. Find charger. Log into bank. 80% of impulse dies during this process. Freeze your credit cards in literal ice. The 10-minute thought time forces reconsideration. For digital payments, set a 24-hour delay on all transactions above $50. Watch how often buyer's remorse kicks in before funds clear. Your most powerful weapon. True wealth multiplies freedom per dollar spent. You've now seen behind the financial matrix. These traps don't want your money, they want your complacency. Each resistance act weakens institutional control. Share this knowledge cautiously. The system profits when others dismiss these truths as conspiracy. Your move, the war for financial autonomy, starts with one empowered decision.